Have you ever wondered what it's like to drive the ring road in Iceland with your family, hike up a crater from 2500 BC, or walk behind a waterfall in sideways rain? Oh, yeah, we just did it all, and we're here to share everything from what we'd absolutely do again to the things we wish someone had told us before we got there.
Ready for your fast pass to unforgettable adventures? Welcome to Talk Travel to Me. Featuring our Mickey Guru Travel Company expert travel advisors, this podcast will guide you in traveling with more ease, confidence, and a sprinkle of magic. Tune in for unique insights, insider info, tips, and personal travel stories that'll transform your journeys into exhilarating moments and lifelong memories. Fasten your seatbelt, grab your passport, let's embark, and let's talk travel.
Welcome back, travelers! I'm Kristy Ouellette, host of Talk Travel to Me, and today I'm joined by my favorite travel companions and co-hosts, my husband Eric and our daughter Allison.
Hello.
Hi.
We just got back from an unforgettable week driving around the entire country of Iceland, and we're here to share what worked, what didn't, what surprised us, and what left us speechless. From Reykjavik to the East Fjords and back, these are our honest takes on traveling Iceland's ring road, family style. The ring road, also known as Route 1, is the main highway that runs entirely around the country. It connects all major towns and natural attractions on one 825-mile-long road. In today's episode, we're giving you a full breakdown of our trip, and here's what you can expect. A quick overview of our itinerary, answering listener questions, must-attend destinations, and our biggest takeaways. Whether you're dreaming of Iceland or already planning your own ring road adventure, we hope this episode helps you feel inspired and maybe a little more prepared than we were. Let's get into it. We're going to kick things off with a little itinerary chat, but before we jump into that, let's talk about how this family ended up in Iceland to begin with. Allison, what happened here?
So we spent a couple months trying to figure out where we wanted to go. We had like a couple of different ideas and we just ended up like nixing all of them for one reason or another. And so eventually I was like, guys, we're never gonna pick something. Like, what are we gonna do? And then I was like, okay, everyone sit down, take 5 minutes, write a list of 10 places on your own that you would be interested in going to. After the 5 minutes is up, like, let's look at them and see if there's any crossover.
And what happened was on my list of 10, I pretty much had like 8 different Caribbean cruise itineraries. And what did you have?
Oh gosh, I don't even remember what I had. Obviously I had Iceland. I had Norway and Antarctica
In
and
Wyoming.
Wyoming.
Yeah.
We ditched that one pretty quick.
Yeah, we had like a lot of different things, but
it was all over the place.
yeah, Iceland and Norway were two that actually magically were on all of our lists,
Right.
which I think Iceland was the first place we had talked about wanting to go. But then we watched some YouTube videos and Dad was like, we're not going there.
Right.
But then somehow we all came back around to the idea and it was probably the perfect like place for us to go. Worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I would say. And for people that have listened before, you know that Allison is a little bit more of a world traveler than Eric and I are. So we were really like looking to celebrate Allison's recent graduation from grad school. So this trip was really about that. So we were pushed right out of our comfort zone. Like I did float the idea of another Disney trip and she just kind of stared at me. And then we talked about some other things that we'd done before. Um, but the idea of going to Europe became really solid. But then, as most people know, it's a pretty big continent. So trying to like narrow down did take some work. But
Then we technically ended up in a place that wasn't even on the landlocked continent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
true. All right, Allison. Now let's talk a little bit about the start of the trip, about our itinerary, what that looked like.
So we flew out of Boston around 9 p.m. and we hit our like 4.5, 5 hour-ish flight into Reykjavik, which for people who have been there, it's actually not into Reykjavik. It's into Keflavik, which is like 45 minutes outside of the major city. We got there around 6 a.m. We step outside, pouring rain, which is probably going to be indicative of like the rest of the trip.
And there was a smell.
There was a sulfur smell, yeah, which I was not expecting.
I don't think any of us expected that.
No.
I knew that was a thing in like other parts, like more north. I know like they talked about that, but yeah, I think it was a little dramatic when we got there. But we're standing in the rain with our 40,000 pounds of luggage because we can't underpack to save our lives.
Right.
And we're looking for like the transfer from the airport to the rental car pickup. And this really tall Icelandic man comes up to us and says, "You want to ride?" And for some reason we said yes.
That wasn't
Um,
quite how it happened.
He did
it was
have
a
a car that said Marriott on
It
it.
was a Marriott car. There were other people going with him. It wasn't like just us piling into the car. His
anyway.
point was that it was going to be a while before the bus got there
Because
because
he was taking like the guy was taking like a cigarette break or something,
yeah, the bus was on a break. So if we wanted to get there anytime soon, we should just get in the car with him and go.
which I just think it's hilarious that you guys have been like you're typically like more anxious travelers, and the first thing you did after stepping off the plane was get in some random man's car. But it was fine. He was
Wasn't
very
very
nice.
like he was very nice.
And he was telling us on the drive to the rental car, he was like, here's some tips, sheep in the road. We'll circle back to that. And then that it's really windy. So when you open your rental car doors, you have to hold on to the door because they'll blow off. And I'm sitting there, I'm going, what is this man talking about? Like, this is ridiculous that we have wind. Okay. You didn't invent wind, like
Right.
whatever.
Never have a
But
door just
he,
blow off.
right, like that doesn't happen. Okay, it's windy. Okay. Um, he was right. The wind was so strong at certain times. I almost got blown off the top of a crater, and I'm not even being dramatic. And then we drove to the Blue Lagoon, which is like a staple. You have to hit it, and that was like 25 minutes, I think, from the airport, and it was on the way to our hotel in Reykjavik. But we got there so early, it wasn't open. So we napped in the car for maybe like 30 minutes and then went and tried to get in earlier, which we did. So,
Well, it's funny because it is one of those places when you say you're going to Iceland, people immediately say like, "Oh, are you going to go to the Blue Lagoon?" And so we did, and we did have a good time. But we did learn that they have multiple packages at the Blue Lagoon that you can purchase. And I went for the one that included like the mud masks and the two drinks because, I'm bougie. And then realized that they don't even ask you if you purchased that to get the mud masks. So you didn't need it. And we never even, like, we had to force ourselves to get one drink. And so it was not a necessary thing. The basic ticket would have been just fine.
I also think people say that they spend all day at the Blue Lagoon. Girl, I don't know what you're doing there all
Right.
day. It was fun for like an hour, and then I was like, okay, I'm bored.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had, unfortunately, it was not a good day for it, right? It was
Yeah.
very overcast. It was raining. It was cold. We just generally wasn't a great time to be there. Um, so for that, if you were there like during the day, that's bright and sunny and it's blue skies and all that, it would be great to spend more time there. But I also think you would go in the water for a little bit and then you'd go inside and probably hang out there for a little bit, get yourself lunch, do something, then go back out. Like there'd be more of a back and forth. For us, once we were inside, that was kind of the end of it. So once we wrapped up there and kind of decided, you know, it was time to go to Reykjavik, and actually get there and check into the hotel and do all that. We had a couple different things actually scheduled for the day already because we made sure this itinerary was packed. Did not sleep on the plane overnight, landed, went straight to Blue Lagoon, and then went straight to Reykjavik, dropped our bags off at the hotel, and then we went on a Viking walking tour. So walk with a Viking tour. Again, remembering the weather, not great at the time we're doing this. Um, but we get there, and there's a little spot in the town square that you need to check in, and we met Paul. Paul is our guy.
Paul is our Viking for life.
Paul is our Viking.
Paul is
And
an icon.
yep,
Yeah.
Paul is an ex-Icelandic fisherman,
Hmm.
big beard, just generally scruffy looking guy, just doing his thing. Um, but he took us all around Reykjavik and showed us, a lot of really cool spots, showed us, all the historical things. Um, Showed us a spot that we were standing on, a spot that was in the middle of the city that I forget how long ago he said, few hundred years ago was underwater. Like it was literally the beachfront of Reykjavik. And so how they've backfilled it all in and they've made it bigger and bigger over time and stuff like that. So that was really cool. And he walked us around, showed us everything. And then we got to a certain point. It was near the end of the tour, and he looked at all of us and he went, "Okay, so you guys know where you are? Okay, I'll see you later." And he walked down the street and disappeared.
And
And
we did not know where we were.
No.
I mean, we had a
No, we
No,
didn't.
no, we
no.
didn't. No,
And neither
we
did
looked
the
at our
people
phones,
on the tour who said yes,
right?
because
Because they
they
were just,
stood
I
there
think
and
they
looked
were
at their
done.
phone as long as we did, trying to figure out where we were.
I think they were just like, yeah, yeah, we know where we are. We're fine. And then, no, you don't. um, Now we weren't far from where we started, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
It's
We
just
just
And
hilarious.
up, and luckily in Iceland, the GPS and the phones work really well, so you can
Mhm.
just pull it up, and we just walked back towards the hotel.
he did recommend a great restaurant, the Icelandic street food
Yep.
Mhm.
restaurant. And when I say great restaurant, it was for you two, um,
Yeah.
because I'm not adventurous and I struggled. But
Adventurous. It was soup.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on.
They had
First of all,
tons of
he mentions this in like the middle of the tour, and we're like super far away, so we can't actually see the name of it. And afterwards, we were like, "Oh, like I guess we'll go there for dinner." And my magical navigation skills,
some.
I found us
Yep,
to the restaurant.
yep. Somehow got us back there.
And we walk in, three soups. You'd think, mom will have something to eat.
Right.
Nope. She had a free waffle because she couldn't, because the tomato soup was too spicy.
Right. They had lamb soup, they had tomato soup, and then they had the fisherman's favorite, which
Special, I think.
which we found out later is like it was almost like a tuna fish sandwich in a bowl. It
oh,
was
It
it was
it was all good.
it was fantastic.
It was
It's
really good.
spicy tomato soup,
right.
like dipping it back and forth.
I
It's
Yeah.
donated my soup to the two of you
right.
so you could have a better experience.
Yep.
Oh,
Thank you.
it was a lot. All right,
Anyway.
so we stayed on this trip. It's probably good to point out that every night of our 6 night adventure was at a different hotel because, really got to mix it up.
Yep.
So the first night we stayed at the Hilton Nordica in Reykjavik. But we got up in the morning, got ready, and where did we go?
Where did we go? We went to the Golden Circle, which is where Thingvellir National Park and a bunch of the geysers and the waterfalls are. And that was a big thing. We did a bunch of waterfalls on this trip, and it was very funny to me because going into it, I was like, okay, they're waterfalls. I'm not particularly interested in that. And then you see them and you get close to them, and it is a completely different experience. Um, it really, I mean, it kind of takes your breath away when you see it the first time, and the first couple that we went to, because it was the power of it,
Mm.
and just kind of for lack of a better term, like the majesty of it was very cool. And then some of the stories and stuff behind them as well were really neat.
So the waterfall that we saw that first day was Gullfoss, which is this like two-tiered level one that we actually like got to walk out, and you can like take down these stairs and like walk out to this big rock that's basically like, 10 feet away from the top of the waterfall. That was insane.
Oh, that was the insane part of getting to leaving America and going somewhere else like Iceland, and
Mhm.
and understanding that their safety and security and expectations are very, very different than they are here.
Great point.
In that I jokingly said there's a rope. There is one rope that goes around the entirety of Iceland, and that is your security rope. That's it.
Don't go beyond this
Don't
rope.
go beyond the rope.
There's
That's
not even a sign.
There's not even
Right.
saying there's just a rope, right? There's a little tiny rope attached to a little tiny stick, and that's it. And to Allie's point, we were within probably even less than 10 feet of this
Yeah.
absolutely massive waterfall that if you slipped and fell on the wet rocks, like they're not coming to look for you.
They'd literally never,
Right.
you'd never come back up.
Right.
There's
They're
so
not
much
coming to look
water.
for you. Right. But
Like,
that was actually a very interesting thing too about Iceland in general, in that it's more about personal responsibility than corporate responsibility, which I thought was very interesting.
Right here, we
It,
really focus on
yeah,
protecting the government protecting us.
protecting us, where there it's like, you know what? If you're gonna go past the rope, well, it's on you at that point. So,
yeah.
um, so that was really interesting.
So let's talk about the snorkeling at Silfra, because that was something I booked for all three of us because the idea of snorkeling between the tectonic plates,
Hmm.
between the North American plates and Eurasia.
Yep.
And then I chickened out. You guys did it.
Hmm.
So tell everybody about what that experience was like.
So this is the only place in the world that you can snorkel between tectonic plates. And it's, I will say, it's not a large area. It's kind of like a lake.
It looks like a puddle.
It starts out,
It was
right, it starts out like a puddle, and then it gets into a lake area. But the water in this area has been filtered through volcanic rock for, I forget,
30 years.
30 years,
Yeah.
100 years, 3,000 years, whatever it is. So really hyper extended, period of time. And it's water that comes down from the glaciers, um, and is filtered through the volcanic rock. It is crystal clear. So most places, apparently, when you go snorkeling, amazing visual, um, is 500 feet. This water, you get 1,000 feet, because of how clear the water is, because of the way it's filtered and all that. Um, Now, here's the fun part. You're in Iceland in May. It's air temperature of 40 degrees, probably 40 something degrees. It's
If you're
rain,
lucky.
it's cold. So the water is 33, 34 degrees. And we're about to go snorkeling in this. But they have dry suits. And you put your dry suit on, and you put gloves on, and you put a little hood over your thing, and you put your mask on, and you literally just walk into the water. And I don't know about you, but it actually felt pretty peaceful. It didn't
Yeah.
feel shocking.
Because there's no animals. And like you said, like when the water's filtered, it takes out all the microorganisms so you can see so far. And it looks like a puddle up above. But as soon as you put your face in the water, it's incredibly deep. Like you couldn't touch, like you couldn't get down there
Right.
Yeah.
deep.
It's as deep as you could see.
It was, and you could see really far.
Right.
So it was amazing. And then you basically like swim out into this like little lake thing. And then you get to see some algae, but no, I didn't see any fish. There's no predators, which is huge for me. I like to snorkel, but I'm terrified of like getting eaten by a shark. Not even a fish in this thing. So,
And so we do all that, and the funniest part, I mean, it was amazing. The colors are amazing. The
mm,
pictures, you can't, the pictures don't even do it justice. But the funniest part about doing that whole thing, not getting all suited up and getting prepared to do this thing and then doing it and whatever, was our snorkeling guide. Our snorkeling guide was Armand from Barcelona, of all places. It was 40 degrees outside and raining, and here's a man from Barcelona snorkeling with people in Iceland. And I had to ask him afterwards. I said, where are you from? He's like, oh, Barcelona. I was like, great. Why are you here? Like, this doesn't make any sense. He goes, we've got so many friends that are dive instructors and stuff, and that they've been trying to get me to come here for years. And he was, I finally did it. I didn't have anything else going on, so he goes, I'll come here. I'll be here till, probably October. He goes, and then I'll decide what to do then.
Such a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
So,
So cool
yeah.
thing to just decide to up and go. And this is what he's going to do. He gets to dive at least twice a day. They also do not just snorkeling, but they do scuba diving in that area as well. So as a dive instructor, I'm sure that's amazing to get to do that stuff.
I also think it's worth noting, just real quick before we go to the next thing, that he only does 2 dives a day.
Yeah,
You're the only group of people in the water at a time. Whereas we're so used to going to these places that are so over traveled that they're doing like 10, 12, 15 tours a day. There's other people in the water. It's like super overcrowded. There was 6 of us on this tour
yeah,
Yeah.
with one guide, and we were the only people in the fisher at a time. Like, it was incredible to see that they are obviously taking such care of the environment, and all of this was like a sustainable way of tourism interacting with the community and the environment, which is was really cool.
So after you all did that, and I basically sat in the car where it was nice and warm, made sure that the car was warm when you got back. So that was great. I also worked quite a bit from the car while they were doing it. Um, Hot tip, if you're going to cancel an experience like that, do it 24 hours in advance though, so you don't get charged.
hmm
Just, don't ask me how I know. But then we kind of moved on along.
If you're gonna have a panic attack, maybe schedule it 24 hours ahead.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
We then kind of started on the way to exploring the South Coast, and we went to some more waterfalls. Now, I will point out to everybody listening, we are doing our very best to be respectful and use the right pronunciation, but it is very difficult to speak English your entire life and then try to speak Icelandic. So that is something that we might struggle with. It's not out of lack of care or respect, but we went to see Seljalandsfoss and Skogafoss, which beautiful, like absolutely beautiful. Now, keep in mind, we are still dealing with rain. We are still dealing with wind that I didn't even know was possible. Like I had the hood on and the rain gear and everything, and my face still was like wind blown. Like I had been out, like, I don't know, flying my own plane without a glass, right? Like it was like just like complete wind.
No wind
Uh,
chill.
we went to a black sand beach, which honestly, when we were putting this trip together, Allison had done a lot of the work. I was thinking, why do I care about a black sand beach? Like, why is that something that I need to see? The It was unreal. It was like not even like being on the planet Earth. Like just walking on this beach was such a challenge to everything you think you know. Like you're walking on the sand and you're like, I'm walking on sand, but it looks like tar or it looks like, it's very odd to me. But it was gorgeous. And that's where the sneaker waves are, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the sneaker waves.
Okay, so basically when you go to like regular beaches, the waves and the tide comes in at like a regular um
Interval.
interval. Thank you. It comes in at a regular interval. On this beach, for whatever reason, I don't think I really understand why. I'm not a meteorologist. They come and they grow super quickly. So people, like, if you're standing too close to the water, all of a sudden there's this like 40-foot wave and like takes people away.
Yeah.
They like sneak up on you because it's not like a normal thing, and they're huge, really close to the shore. So you have to be really careful to not be too close. So they say like don't ever turn your back on the water and don't get too close. And I was scared watching other people because I was worried for their safety, but also like I don't want to see that happen to someone.
Right.
And there were people not being safe. So
Well, and because, like we said before, like there was a big sign
Yep.
mm,
that said the cautions. It was in English so that everybody could
Yep.
understand.
Little blinking yellow light was like, if you go
Yeah.
there, that's on you.
Right. But then we're watching people who either didn't read or don't care or whatever, and they didn't all look like they were, Olympic swimmers, right? Getting really close. And I literally wanted to use like my mom voice and be like, get away from there.
well, and also it's not like you're going to be taken out and pushed back onto the beach. There's these giant like rock columns that you're not making it out of there.
Yeah.
And I just think it's another example of like you have to respect the place that you're in, not just the other people, but the environment, and understand what's going on around you, because it's your responsibility.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
Yep. I love that is one thing I absolutely loved about Iceland.
yeah.
Personal responsibility.
Personal responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in this area, we stayed at one of my favorite hotels, Magma Hotel, which is truly now one of my most favorite hotels I've ever stayed in. It had little cottages. Ours happened to be right on the water. It was so beautiful. Also, the bathroom tile was heated.
The floors were heated.
Mm.
Radiant floor heat, bathroom floor heating in Iceland is a
Yeah.
wonderful thing.
Oh,
Should be everywhere.
especially
It
since
really
we
should
were
be.
cold and wet and it was
Oh,
just like
yeah.
so nice. So the Magma Hotel, 10 out of 10. Absolutely loved it. Um, and I was sad to leave, but then my absolute favorite hotel in Iceland came next. And that was when we headed to the glacier area and the ice lagoon. So Allie, you can tell us about that.
Yeah, so the next thing that we did, um, I'm gonna struggle to say this one, was the Skaftafelts Jökull Glacier hike. Let's go with that.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
It was actually snowing
Yeah.
on this day. We get out of the car, we're bundled up, and we basically walked out to the glacier, which was incredible. Dad and I like walked out to it. It like the path kind of like comes to an end. You can see it, and then you can walk down. We like walked down, touched it. It was really incredible. And again, it's one of those things that there was like we could see like seven people the whole time. I
Yeah.
don't know if it must have been partly because it's a down time of year, but it was incredible because you feel like you're entirely alone in this space, which but you're not. So it wasn't scary. It was really cool.
Yeah, it felt like we
Um
were on the moon. Like
it
it
did.
had that gray, kind of
Yeah.
dark and black kind of feel to it. And there was a sign that said we needed to watch out for
Quicksand,
quicksand.
Quicksand,
Which
which never seen that before.
only
that
in
was
TV
that
shows.
was a new sign.
And
Um,
let me tell you, we found it.
we found a little bit,
Yeah.
right?
We
Just a little,
didn't
we found a squishy spot.
We found a squishy spot. It like basically right, and you're right up next to the glacier. Somehow the water melting and the sand and like the volcanic ash, I don't know, makes
The
something.
sand just becomes oversaturated. So
Yeah, but like we like were stepping out of it and I was like, I know that's gonna be squishy. So I like quick stepped and then like walked. When I tell you, it was like a good 6 inches deep
mhm.
from one step. So if you had stood there for like a long time, you would have been in trouble.
Yeah.
The next place that we went to, we did a Zodiac boat tour, which we had done a Gemini boat tour in Alaska. So this felt like kind of similar to me, but it was in the Glacier Lagoon. It's called the Jökulsárlón Glacier Lagoon. That was incredible. We got to see gray seals and harbor seals and look and learn about these like incredible pieces of ice.
the,
So
the
that
glacier and the ever-changing glacier. There was a huge piece of ice that had broken off the glacier that 2 hours before hadn't been broken off. So it's constantly changing in that area. It was amazing, absolutely amazing to see.
the boat ride was really fun, and the guide what like he knew everything. So people were asking him all kinds of questions. So that was really cool because we got to hear like how, the glacier was formed and how long ago. Let's wrap up our itinerary because we're going to talk about some things that people are going to want to know about not just traveling to Iceland, but other, the explorer in us now. So Eric, tell us more about North Iceland and the final days on the Ring Road.
Yeah, so we did we drove, as Christy pointed out, all the way around. So we started in the south, made our way up north, to where you can actually climb a a volcanic crater, and it's like 1,500 feet up or something like that. It's a significant hike. I I will try to pronounce it. It's Caver crater. We'll think that's close.
It looks like Hierophal, but
Kyverfall. Yeah, it's a tough one. Um, but absolutely amazing. But on the top, Allie and I climbed up. Christy was smart enough to stay in the car and watched us from a distance.
well, I started to, and then I got to the base of it, looked up, and I was getting hit in the face again with wind and now
And sand.
sand. And I went, this is bananas. Like, you
Yeah.
guys have fun.
Walked back to the car and filmed us as we were walking up the slant of the side of the crater.
Yeah, made
Well, and in all honesty, I was like, oh my gosh, she's not gonna do it. Like I was kind of annoyed. And my God, did she make the right call? That
Right.
yeah.
was whoa. I was like, I had to like I would count 10 steps and then take a break for 10 seconds and then take 10 more steps. Like it was steep and I didn't have glasses or sunglasses on because also it's 9 p.m. at this point. It's still light out, by the way. We haven't talked about that at all.
Right.
But I'm getting like sand in my eyes. I'm like got my hood down so far I can't see how much is left. That was an adventure for sure.
So we made our way up. We actually made really good time on the way up,
Yeah, we did it fast.
despite the complaints of how windy and sandy and stuff. We did do it relatively quickly. Um, but when we got to the top, you're at the top of this huge crater, and you could walk around it if you want. You can walk around the rim of it. The problem is it was so windy that we both felt like we were going to get blown right off. And again, it's Iceland. There's no rope. There's no, like, at this point, there was no rope. They didn't even have the rope up there. They looked at you and went, if you're crazy enough to go up here, again, you're on your own.
Yeah.
And so we actually had to kneel down. I think you sat at one point because
Like,
the wind
yeah.
was just constant.
And
It,
I don't think you can like conceptualize it.
no.
It's gonna sound like I'm being dramatic, but I legitimately thought I was gonna get blown off this thing backwards. We got to the top. I had to sit down. You were like lunged out, like
It did.
trying to get some semblance of like balance, but I couldn't even like look or enjoy it because it was so strong.
Yeah. So we
That was
didn't stay up
crazy.
there very long. We got the pictures.
Mm.
We had the pictures to prove it, and then we bolted back down. It
Yeah.
was now it wasn't as bad once you were going down because you were blocked a little bit.
Yeah.
The crater was actually blocking some of the wind, but um, yeah, it was that was tough. The other thing we went to while we were doing that, we went to Dimmu Borgir, which is a huge lava field that was just interesting. They've actually got little paved like walking paths and stuff between it. It's a really cool little spot to get to see, you know, just how amazing a like what it is that a volcanic eruption can do to an area and how it can just completely overtake an area. And over time, they've built these little paths and stuff and made it something that people can go and visit. But very cool, very very cool thing to do. Um, and really, that was for the most part the end of the itinerary. Yes, we made our way up north, but we made our way back down south pretty quickly over the next day, and didn't really do anything there. So that was kind of the end of the major milestones and events.
I mean, you say we didn't do anything, but we really had like car jam sessions to Taylor Swift, like singing all through Iceland, and like, we had some great conversations. We got out and took some pictures and stuff. But yeah, that was the end of kind of our um, planned excursions because we wanted to get back to Reykjavik and have a little bit of time there before it was time to fly home. So it was definitely a jam-packed itinerary for sure. I think we got to see most of the best of Iceland in just a week. We were there for 6 nights, 7 days, and there were a lot of special moments. And I think we'd all agree that there actually is reason to go back. There's more things that we all want to see, especially making the trip up to some of the Western Peninsula and then the only part of Iceland that actually falls within the Arctic Circle, which is a northern island called Grimsby. Before we went on this trip, I was following some influencers on Instagram, and I'll drop the links in the show notes so that you can follow them too if you're interested. And there was somebody that was like, "Oh, I went once, and then I've been once a year for the last 5 years." And I thought to myself, "That's insane." Now, while I don't know that I'd go once a year for the next 5 years, I absolutely need to go back. And I know that we've talked about that. Like, want to go back and see like the Northern Lights, want to go see orcas when they're in the right season and explore that whole Western Peninsula part as well. So it was amazing. We always love getting messages from our listeners, so we asked for some of their questions about our trip. Let's jump into them. First up was, what's the best time of year to go to Iceland?
Whenever you can get there.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say.
Me
I
too.
thought That's so cute.
I love that. So there are definitely people that like to go in the winter. If you are hardy and you want to be there when it's really snowy, apparently June or
Early
late
June's
May,
good.
Right?
that's an idea. If you're looking to see the aurora borealis, the northern lights, that really is going to be a sweet spot of like October through March, early April. So it really depends on what your goal is.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's no bad time.
I will say everyone, like, because the weather was really rough when we were there, we heard a lot of people say September is the best time to go. So if you're looking for like the good weather and stuff, like that's what they said. But really, I'm just surprised that you said that whenever you can go, because that's exactly how I feel. Like whenever you can get there, it's worth it. It's always got something good.
Is this trip doable with kids, and what age range would you recommend? So my answer to that would be it depends on the kids, but I would not bring kids probably under the age of 10 to Iceland, and maybe even a little bit older. My thought is that if you're doing the road trip like we did, you don't want to listen to them whine and ask if we're there yet and all of that kind of thing.
Also, there's nowhere to pee,
Well,
There's
there's
nowhere to pee. They're gonna get blown away.
right? There's no food. There's no place to pee. Like,
I'm saying I think this is a great trip to do with adult kids.
yeah.
yeah, I
And
mean,
we really didn't see a lot of children. There was
no.
one kid who took her shoes off in the restaurant and was running around, but that was probably the only kid I remember seeing the whole time.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that child was Icelandic. I don't think that
She
they
definitely was, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just think like if you're gonna take them, it would be 10 or older. I agree though. I think that like an adult kid trip, like we did, like
Yeah.
we could trust you not to run away, to know, understand what those sneaker waves are about, so we didn't have to worry about you doing that. What's one thing you discovered during travel that no one prepared you for in advance?
We be preparing. That's the thing about us.
We were really prepared.
I
I think
will
still being like being flexible, things are not going to go your way. You're going to end up on the wrong road, even though there's only one road to drive on somehow. Like things are going to not go perfectly and just be ready for that and like let that be part of the experience.
Yeah, I think having that the flexibility. We had really solid plans, but keeping that because like that day that we took the wrong turn onto the lava field and just kept driving, right?
Yeah.
Like we could,
Not onto the field, by the way. There
onto
was
the
a road,
road between the field.
yeah,
but it was very small and probably didn't really exist.
right.
Right. It was a road, but you couldn't turn around on it,
If
so
the
we had
car
to go to
rent
the end of it.
if the car rental company is listening, it was fine. We didn't.
It wasn't an F road.
No,
We're fine.
no. What's something you do differently? This says if you went back, and I'm gonna change it. What's something you diff what is something you do differently when you go back?
I would, well, I guess it's is more like if, but if it was my first time in Iceland again, I would say I would go for 2 to 3 weeks instead.
I think two would be good. Three seems like I would not want to do that.
Okay. What's your answer then?
Honestly, I would plan my dates around the Northern Lights.
Hmm.
And not would, I will. Plan my dates around the Northern Lights and when the orcas are in the area and make that a highlight. I am whale obsessed, but what ended up happening is at the time we were there, it was humpback season. And although there are some orcas in the area, they're not prevalent at that time of year. And I can see humpbacks very easily here. So I think that that's something that those two things would be what's driving me back to Iceland.
So I would not do the full ring road.
Yeah.
I would not go up north again. To me, we did two cool things up there, and it was great that we did them. We had to kind of rush because of the timing of it. Um, it's really far to get up there. I would go as far as the Glacial Lagoon Hotel on the eastern side, and then rather than continuing on, I would probably go back down to Reykjavik and then go up the western side and see what there is on the western side.
Yeah, because there was a lot over
I
there.
think there's stuff there that
Yeah,
when we didn't experience. So
I
that
agree, but I feel like it's a once in a lifetime thing that like you have to do it once.
yeah,
But
just
when you go back, it's definitely not
yeah.
necessary.
Those were some great questions, and honestly, they brought back a lot of memories. Now, speaking of unforgettable experiences, let's dive into the places we think are absolute must-sees for anyone heading to Iceland. When it comes to choosing our must-see stops from the trip, we each had something that really stood out. These were the places that made us pause, take it all in, and say, wow, we're really in Iceland. I feel like I said that quote at least 100 times while we were there. So let's go around and share our top picks. Allison, you're up first.
My must see for Iceland is definitely Seljalandsfoss, which was, I think, the second waterfall that we went to. But on this one, you can go behind it. We like climbed up these little stairs and stood behind it, and it was absolutely incredible. I kind of had the same thought process that Dad did before the trip. Like, okay, a waterfall is a waterfall. Like, once you see them, but they were all so unique and different that it was really amazing to see. And this one was just incredible. Like we definitely got like soaking wet. It was raining and windy anyway at this point on the trip still, but it was, I mean, it was incredible. And then there's like a cute little pathway and stuff that you can like walk down. There's a little bridge, lots of little stuff to explore over there. But that's, you have to see that for sure.
So mine was the Glacial Lagoon boat tour. And I think what we booked this through Ice Lagoon Adventure Tours. I
Yes.
think that was what we used. Um, Absolutely amazing. Um, that day overall was phenomenal. And I said to you guys in the car, probably one of my best days ever. Like
Oh,
that was absolutely phenomenal to get to see, to be in the water in the glacial lagoon to start with, to see a glacier that close and the pieces that are broken off floating around and then to get to see the seals as well.
Oh, the
That
seals.
oh, it
they're
was
so cute.
yep. So that was my absolutely can't miss. Would do it again in a heartbeat.
And I can't say enough about the seals. And I love the fact that there were so many of them in this area and that they had no predators because how shallow the entry point is to the lagoon from the ocean, there's nothing that's big that can get in. So like these people, so these seals were like living their best lives. Like all the fish they could eat, no predators. They were just like sunning themselves on the glaciers, on the icebergs. Like it was amazing. So
Yeah.
cool.
And they were there. They weren't startled by us being there.
Mm.
You can tell they're used to people kind of coming through to some extent, at least. And I will say the guides were very, very good about making sure they stayed a certain distance away from them and didn't disrupt them or anything like that. Um, but they kind of looked at us
They're
and
like playing, yeah.
they have like a permanent smile on their face because of the way their faces are. So that made it even more fun. And again, we got tons of pictures of that, so I'm sure you'll post some and show that.
Well, and I think too, it was one of the guys on our tour was talking to the tour guide and was like, you guys should like feed them fish so that everyone gets to see them and then you can advertise for them. And I think our tour guide like short circuited
He
because
did.
he was like so confused as to like why in the world that would be something you would do because that's just like not their thought process. So this guy, like the guest who said that was an American too, and was just like, he was just like shooting off the cuff. He was like, yeah, like that sounds like a good idea because it
And
would
help them
make
make some more money.
right make more money. And our guide was like,
Huh?
why? Because he's just like, no, they're here. They're part of the natural environment, and we're here to observe them, not to like
Just
mess with their system or anything. He's like, they have food.
Right.
right. They have
And I
one.
was like, you know what? So true.
Yeah. That was awesome.
That was really funny.
My must see was actually the walking tour, the walk with a Viking. Now they do have walking tours, guided tours all over the island, but I especially love that we did it first. We did it in Reykjavik and it gave us a real good foundation for the things that we were going to see around the entire country. One of my favorite, as I mentioned, was the hidden people, which people may know them as elves. It is a very real thing in Iceland. And it was so interesting to me to hear the stories and really to kind of get that feel. And then every time I saw the rocks all around Iceland, I was like, ah, that's gonna be an elfin rock. Like it was so cool. So that was definitely my must see.
And I think to go a little bit deeper on the elven rocks is basically that they believe that elves live inside of these stones. And you'll see them all over the country. And it's very clear which ones probably have little guys living in them and which ones don't because they have like such a distinct look.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting. Paul on that tour was telling us that the folklore of Iceland is a combination between Celtic lore and Scandinavian or like mostly Norwegian, I think he said. So you have like elves and trolls, each from a different culture, and we see like a lot of that crossover. So, and I'll also I think we can link in the show notes. There was like a book that we had gotten before the trip that had like all these different Icelandic folklore tales, and that was so fun. We did read those like on the drive and everything.
Yeah, I wish I had read it before we left, but we brought it with us. It was small enough that we literally took turns reading it as we were driving around, which was really cool. All right, let's get into some of our top tips and takeaways. The things we wish we knew before we landed in Iceland, the things we did know that end up being lifesavers.
One of the most important things to know about going to Iceland is to dress appropriately. You will need basically hiking gear, right? You'll need rain gear. You'll need really solid waterproof shoes. You're gonna be walking around a lot. You're gonna be experiencing all kinds of things. Like Ali said, we walked out to the glacier. We did that, and the weather is utterly unpredictable. We're recording this at the beginning of June, and I know for a fact they just had a blizzard yesterday. So when we were there in May, the weather changes every 10 minutes. It'll be raining. It'll be sunny. It'll be raining again. It'll be sunny. It'll be cold. It'll be windy. It'll be raining. So be
Yeah.
aware that the right rain pants, a raincoat, a a a fleece underneath that.
Yeah.
You're gonna need it. You're gonna want it.
The Columbia fleeces that Allison and I bought right before we left, that last minute purchase, those saved all of us, like underneath our rain jackets and everything. It was like the perfect layer. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And we literally got them so that we could all match and be cute.
Right.
But if we didn't have those, we would have been screwed.
Right. Right.
I mean, and we wore them every day.
Yeah, every day.
Literally every day. It was rain pants, over pants because we bought the like rain
Hmm.
pants that go over your regular pants, and then the fleeces we wore every day. So
Yeah.
it was just perfect. So that's my number one takeaway. Have to have, can't miss.
I'd say mine is you have to bring a good sleep mask. I am a sleep mask
Mhm.
girly on a normal day. But especially in Iceland, they say, that the sun never sets in the middle of the summer. It's like the land of the midnight sun. I don't know like where the message got lost, but if the sun's setting counts as like it going slightly below the horizon, I guess it sets. But when we were there, it did not get dark.
No.
There was times I woke up at like 2 a.m. just to look outside. It's still bright out. So
Yeah.
you need a sleep mask, especially if you're a light sleeper. Like it's just a must have.
So one of mine is go for the out of the box hotels. So
Mhm.
like when you travel, like you want to stay at a Hilton or a Marriott because you know the quality, right? We did stay at a Hilton one night, and we also stayed at a couple of key hotels, which is Iceland's network chain of hotels. Those were all really kind of cool. But going out of the box and really staying at some that were really cool, like the Magma Hotel and the Glacier Lagoon Hotel, those were just stunning. Had I gone with my normal, which is like, nope, choose a place that is uh, typical, that we is a known quantity, we would have missed some like really cool experiences. So as the travel agent, I spoke to a travel agent that specialized in these in Iceland and was able to kind of make sense of all of that. So that was really helpful and added a whole lot of magic. I mean, the heated floor was one thing,
Yeah.
but some of the things like you said, like a hotel at the base of a glacier. We literally were in a hot tub looking at a rainbow and a glacier. Like,
Yeah.
hello, like that was just incredible. I think we could go on and on about this. Like, in fact, I really believe that we could probably have a podcast that's like Talk Iceland to me, and we could probably find something to talk about for a very long time. But we're going to close it there. Would we recommend a week-long Iceland road trip? Absolutely. but know what you're getting into. It's wild, windy, and full of magic. Pack waterproof everything, be flexible, and don't try to see the whole country in 7 days. We may have been a little bit aggressive with our plan. But thanks for coming along with us. Until next time, don't chase the wildlife, respect the elves, and consider bringing your own bagels. You could also head on over to our Instagram at Talk Travel to Me Pod for some of the unbelievable views and memories. We'll be sharing photos. Until next week, see you real soon.
Thanks for listening to Talk Travel to Me. We hope this episode cracked open inspiration for the treasures that await you at your next dream destination. If you love the show, please review, subscribe, and share it with a friend. At Mickey Guru Travel Company, we're your trusted guides for theme parks, cruises, resorts, and more. Visit our website at mickey guru.com to learn more and book your vacation today.